Hi, my name is Louis Pitarchi. Today I will be showing you how to make great tasting beer brats all year round, indoors or outdoors, without wasting beer, and how to avoid the most common mistakes when cooking this German-influenced Wisconsin-style classic. Let's get started. It's very important that you purchase uncooked bratwurst. Store-bought bratwurst usually comes in packages of 4, 5, or 6. You'll need a vessel to cook them in. Many people use aluminum pans, but I like to use a medium-sized 10-inch heavy bottom skillet for even heat distribution and so you don't waste beer or onions. It's the perfect size for 6 brats. You'll also need a quarter stick of butter, 1 large yellow onion sliced, 2 cloves of garlic smashed, 1 tablespoon of your preferred mustard. Boar's Head deli-style mustard pairs exceptionally well with beer brats and works great both during the simmer and as a finishing condiment. A quarter teaspoon of kosher salt or 2 generous pinches of table salt. 1/8 teaspoon of freshly ground pepper. For the beer, you'll need 12 ounces of a regular lager of your choice. I recommend Pabst Blue Ribbon for a US option or Paulaner Helles Lager for a German option. Be sure to measure 12 ounces if you have larger cans like these. Even if you don't like these beers, I've put many beers to the test and these work great for beer brats due to their body, slightly sweet, malty flavor, and low bitterness, which complements the brats and onions nicely. Avoid very light beers, heavy beers, bitter beers, IPAs, or very dark beers like stouts or porters. You might be thinking, wait, did he just say to avoid really light beers like Miller Lite when so many beer brat videos use them? It's not the brand, it's the style. Light beers work perfectly fine for simmering or keeping the sausages warm, but if reduced, it tends to turn sharper because it has very little residual malt sweetness and body to balance the bitterness, and it doesn't add much flavor to the onions, so you often have to compensate with other ingredients. I know the sausage is king here, but if you also want rich, savory, sweet onions to accompany your brat, I recommend using a fuller lager that naturally reduces into a sauce and simply brings out more flavor. There are plenty of ways to make beer brats. This is the one where the beer finally matters. It reveals how good your beer really is for cooking. Turning it into a noticeable ingredient, it builds real flavor into the onions, not overpowering the king, but becoming an essential part of the whole dish. Open your hood and set your grill to low heat about 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Place your cast iron pan on the grill and add a quarter stick of butter. If cooking indoors, set your burner to medium-low heat instead. As the butter melts, swirl it so it can coat the entire bottom of the pan. Then add your quarter-inch sliced yellow onion. Spread the onions out evenly and let them cook for 2 minutes. Repeat this until you reach 8 minutes. After that, continue the same process but stir every minute. Every grill and pan is different, but my onions are usually ready at about 15 minutes. You are looking for onions that are soft, translucent, glossy, and lightly golden on some edges. At this point, add a quarter teaspoon of kosher salt or 2 generous pinches of table salt. Stir and taste. The onions should be sweet and taste amazing. Once the onions reach this perfect stage, add exactly 12 ounces of beer. I used 16 ounces only because it was extremely cold and windy, which forced me to run the grill hotter, causing more evaporation. 12 ounces lets the beer flavor the onions well without needing a long reduction afterwards. Now add 1 tablespoon of your preferred mustard, 2 smashed garlic cloves, 1/8 teaspoon of fresh cracked pepper. Lightly stir everything together and let it settle into a gentle simmer. Then add the brats. Make sure they are submerged as much as possible, and once they are in, do not touch them for 5 minutes. Keep the beer around 165 to 170 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the sweet spot where the casing doesn't split, the brats cook evenly, and the fat stays inside for a juicier result. A simmer can sometimes look like nothing is happening because you barely see movement. That is normal, trust it. The brats are cooking gently. Some people cover the pan and it does have benefits. I purposely keep it uncovered because I want the beer to slowly reduce, and with cast iron, I like to watch it closely so the simmer doesn't creep into a boil. After 5 minutes, turn the brats over. The classic Wisconsin beer bath fully submerges the brats. I keep mine about 60 to 70% submerged. It preserves the casing texture for a better snap, builds better flavor, and avoids wasting beer. At the 10-minute mark, flip the brats again and start checking the internal temperature. Not because they are done yet, but to understand where you are in the cook. The goal is for every brat to reach 160 degrees Fahrenheit internal temperature. That's the point where we know they're fully cooked and safe to eat. After that, we're just grilling for color. If you go past 160 degrees Fahrenheit, try to stay as close to it as possible. The further you cook beyond that, the drier the brat will be. That's why it's crucial to pull them at the right time. The beer has already reduced to my liking for the onions, but taste them and adjust if needed. You can keep reducing the liquid to your preference. Once they're ready, you can either pull the onions from the liquid or leave them in. That's how you make fantastic tasting onions using just one beer. Close the hood and bring the grill up to about 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Before grilling, I like to dry the brats with paper towels. This helps create better color, better char, and a better snap. Once the grill is stable at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, open the hood, turn off one burner, lightly oil the grates with a high smoke point oil, and place the brats on the live heat side. Turning off one burner creates a two-zone fire, one hot side and one cooler side. This gives you a safe zone to move the brats if flare-ups occur and bring them back once under control. Turn the brats every 30 to 45 seconds, rotating them until you reach your preferred color. For beer brats, we always try to protect the casing, but if they split near the end, it's not a big deal. The brats are already fully cooked and will be coming off of the grill soon, so they'll still retain their internal juiciness. You can remove them if you just want a little color, or keep them going if you prefer them darker or with more char marks. Personally, I like to crank up the heat at the end and fire roast my brats. And yes, you might get a few splits, but the trade-off is a more pronounced savory barbecue flavor that you can achieve even if you're grilling on a gas grill. This is the way I like to make beer brats. Thank you, Germany, for the bratwurst, Sheboygan for the beer brat, and the entire state of Wisconsin for helping this tradition grow across the country and making it a true staple of grilling and barbecuing.